Shruti? Shruti? I'll just close the door. Okay. So we start?
Yes, sir.
Good. So let us pay respects to the great teacher. Arhatu Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arhatu Samma Sambuddhassa Buddham Saranam Gacchami Dhammam Saranam Gacchami Sangham Saranam Gacchami. Good. So let us start this session. We are starting a new book. This is a book which we are reading. Tanipata. Okay. This is one of the most authentic, supposed to be most authentic collection of discourses of the Buddha. And it has many chapters containing the verses which are recited very frequently by the traditional Theravada Buddhist community,
Is
both
it
in the monks and
a
the
book, short form of Tipitaka, or how was this the collection taken out?
yeah, this is one of the books of Khuddaka Nikaya. If you see, I've written here, Khuddaka Nikaya. So it is one of the books of Khuddaka Nikaya. So the second book of Khuddaka Nikaya is the Dhammapada, and I think it is the seventh or sixth. I don't remember exactly. First is Khuddaka Path, then the second is Dhammapada. This is also one of those books. So these are all collections done at the time of the first council, which was held 3 months after the Mahaparinirvana of the Buddha. So the collection has been done according to different rules, really. Some of them were kind of miscellaneous things which have been collected together. I hope you are able to hear me.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So I'll read out for you these chapters because I don't have any story. I couldn't locate the story because it's available only in Pali. Commentaries in translation was not available. So the first section is called Uraga Suttam. Uraga means snake. So here the analogy of snake shedding off its old skin is used to illustrate the whole process of self-realization as giving up of the old habit patterns and adopting a wholesome habit pattern. So the various verses of this first chapter, in fact it is divided into 5 books and sometimes as I've written here chapter 1.1. So in the first book is say I put chapter 1 and there are large number of sections in it. I'll just let you know the total scope. There are 5 chapters. First is the Uragavarga. Uragavarga means the chapter of the snake. And then there are other similar chapters. Each of them has number of verses, number of suttas in it. So the first Uragavagga has 12 suttas and Chulavagga has 14 suttas. Mahavagga has 12 suttas. Atthakavagga has 16 and Parayanavagga has another 16 suttas. So that is the whole collection which we have embarked upon. If I read out to you the characteristic of this from the introduction, it clearly mentions that this is seen to be as the most authentic of the, I mean, there are scholars who have all kinds of opinions about what is authentic and what came later. But this is said, it is the oldest strata of Sutta Nipata was represented by the Buddha and his fellow ascetics who helped fellow homeless ones, the monks. The teaching was austere and striker and so on. That's a further description of it. So it's a privilege and joy to be able to read together with friends. So let me read it out to you. Okay? How would you like to read?
I think that's better you read.
Better I read. I made you read whole of Dhampada, so let me read Sutta Nipata.
No, sir, across connect sessions, it is much better to read in person. Across connect sessions, it will be difficult.
Okay. Yo upattim vineti kodham visatam sappa visamava osadehi so bhikkhu jahati ora param vrago jannam iva tacham puranam. So this second part is repeated everywhere. So bhikkhu jahati ora param vrago jannam iva tacham puranam. वो जैसे वो भिक्षु जहाती मतलब he gives up ora para means this world and the higher world. So it is usually translated as the cycle of existence. So that bhikshu gives up the cycle of existence. Urogo jinnam iva tacham puranam. Just as a snake gives up old decayed skin. So that is the analogy. And so what does it give up? In the first verse it is said, यो उपत्तिम विनेति क्रोधम, जो क्रोध जो उत्पन्न होता है उसको हटा देता है. विसतम सप्प विसम व औषधेयी, just as which, and the anger is told like the snake poison which is diffused in the body, which is removed by the औषधेयी. जो औषधियों से अगर जैसे स्नेक का पॉइजन हटा देते हैं उसी तरह से जो भिक्षु क्रोध को हटा देता है, उठे हुए क्रोध को, जो क्रोध उठा भी है और उसको just gives it up. The word used is vinheti, means gives it up. It's not saying suppresses it. क्रोध उठा और he gives it up. Means he just lets it be. And similarly other things. Yuragam Isapupam va saror uram vigaya. Here it is about ragam uchit. Rag do jante hain. It is translated as lust, but it is basically means cravings of various kinds. And the analogy is given. Visapupam is the flower, lotus flower. Saroruham Vigaya. Just as one enters the Sarora in a lake and cuts off a lotus flower. Similarly, this person has destroyed the raga, uprooted the raga. Uchcheda is actually uprooted the raga. Third is Tanham, and the analogy given is Saritam Sighasaram Visol Sayitva. Saritam जो सरिता है, जो रिवर बह रही है और जैसे कि वो सूख जाती है समय पाके, तो इन एग्जैक्टली सेम वे वन हु इज कंप्लीटली uprooted the tanha, Krishna, so overcomes the cycle of existence. The next is yomanam manam udbhadhi asesam. Manam is the conceit or the pride was udbhadhi, is completely uprooted. Asesham मतलब उसको कोई शेष नहीं रहा, completely. And the analogy given is नाल से तुम वा सुदुबलम महाघो. जैसे सुदुबलम में जो दुर्बल है और महाघो the mighty flood, just as a mighty flood will sweep away a bridge made up of reeds. reeds का अगर कोई ब्रिज हो और वो फ्लड आए तो वो उनको बहा के ले जाएगा. इसी तरह से जिसने अपने राइड को बहा दिया है, he is also crosses the cycle of birth and death. यो नज्जदम वा भवेषु सारम विचिन्न पुप्पम यो उदम्बरेषु. जो जिस तरह से कि एक उदम्बरेषु होता है, फिग का ट्री जो होता है ना, ये अंजीर का जो पेड़ होता है, उसमें कोई फूल नहीं होते हैं शायद. इसे वन हु डज नॉट सी एनी essence in the substantiality in the form of becoming. भवेशु सारम, भवने मतलब बनने में, सार नहीं देखता. Who doesn't see any essence? It is becoming is essentially essenceless. There is no essence in it. जो अनंत का ध्यान ठीक से जिसको समझ में आ गई है, then and he sees the forms of becoming as one does not find flowers on a fig tree. तो जिस तरह से फिग ट्री पे फ्लावर्स नहीं होते, उसी तरह से सब किसी भी फॉर्म में, किसी भी रूप में कोई भी एसेंस नहीं देखता है. यह संतर तो न संति कोपा, जिसके अंतर में कोप नहीं है, कोई भी क्रोध नहीं है, टेम्पर नहीं है, दिखती. इति भाव भावतंच वेतिवत्तो. वेतिवत्ता मतलब ओवरकम. इति भाव अभावतंच, जिसमें बिकमिंग एंड नॉट बिकमिंग. भाव मतलब बनना और विभव मतलब न बनना, जिसमें ना उसमें बनने की कोई भाव है, ना उसमें कुछ ना बनने का भाव है. मतलब जो भव तृष्णा और विभव तृष्णा दोनों ही जिसने छोड़ दी है. यस्य वितक का विधूपिता अज्जतम सुविकल्पता अशेषा. जिसने कि अपने अंदर जो भी विकल्प हैं, नाना प्रकार के विकल्प हैं, उनको छोड़ दिया है और जो अंतर में स्थापित हो गया है. He is another such person. You nachasari napachasari. This is an interesting word used. Nachasari napachasari. Actually, literal translation जो मैंने देखा उसका था कि one who does not aspire too high or aspire too low. But it is used in different contexts at different places. So here I have written that he who is neither aspiring too high nor too low and who has overcome all such conceptual powers. मतलब मुझे बहुत ऊंचा बढ़ना है और या मुझे बिल्कुल नीचे रहना है, या मुझे ईगो नहीं बढ़नी चाहिए या ईगो बढ़नी चाहिए. बोथ दिस काइंड ऑफ थिंग्स सब्बम मच्छगम व इमम प्रपंच. इस तरह के जो प्रपंच हैं, इस तरह की जो थॉट प्रोसेस है, प्रपंच मीन्स कंसेप्चुअल प्रोलिफरेशन, इस तरह की जो थॉट प्रोसेस है उसको इसने छोड़ दिया है. Again the same word is used, but I think here the translation is better done. He who is neither restless nor indolent. क्योंकि जो
Only
one who is
conceptual
aspiring too high
proliferations.
will be hello, can you hear me?
Conceptual proliferations किस सेंस में यूज किया हुआ है?
Conceptual proliferation मतलब जो मन के जो प्रपंच चलते हैं ना, you think about things and then you want to achieve something and you want to achieve something, or you think देखो मुझे humility चाहिए, I should become very humble and I should not think about becoming great or becoming, so you are always conceptualizing about such things. So that is what is meant by प्रपंच कहते हैं ना हिंदी में, कि प्रपंच में पड़ गया वो, कुछ ना कुछ चलता ही रहता है दिमाग में. that is the meaning of the प्रपंच word. तो ये प्रपंच है ना, कि मैं बहुत ऊंचा उठ जाऊं या मैं बिल्कुल भी कुछ ना बनूं, मैं बिल्कुल अकिंचन बन जाऊं. both these things are प्रपंच. you are trying to become something, then you will be, if you have given it up all, then you will be free. वही शब्द नीचे वाले में है, इसमें क्योंकि वो यूज डिफरेंट कॉन्टेक्स्ट में हुआ है, तो यहाँ पे उसका ट्रांसलेशन जो किया गया, अच्छी सारी का ट्रांसलेशन किया गया रेस्टलेसनेस, बिकॉज इफ यू आर एस्पायरिंग टू हाई देन यू बिकम रेस्टलेस, मुझे ये भी मिल जाए वो भी मिल जाए. एंड इफ यू आर एस्पायरिंग टू लो देन यू बिकम इंडोलेंट, लेजी हो जाता है आदमी, छोड़ो कुछ नहीं, कुछ अचीव नहीं करना, बैठे रहो कुछ मत करो. So that is the translation which is used in this ninth one. Who knows that everything in the world is an illusion. Now once you know that everything is an illusion, सर्वम वितथ्यम इदंति नात्वा लोके, जानते हुए ये कि ये संसार सब कुछ जो है एक अनट्रू है. वितथ्य मतलब अनट्रू है, इट्स नॉट ए ट्रू एज सीम्स टू बी. नाउ इफ you see the world in that manner, there's a great chance that you'll become lazy, isn't it? कुछ नहीं रखा है संसार में, छोड़ो ना, क्या कुछ करना है. So he's pointing out that part also. That's why the translation which fits in here is neither restless nor lazy. Then here it is, same thing is repeated, but an additional factor is added. वीत लोभो, वीत लोभो मीन्स जिसने लोभ छोड़ दिया है. नेक्स्ट में ऐड किया गया वीत रागो, जिसने राग छोड़ दिया गया है. नेक्स्ट में ऐड किया गया वीत दोषो, जिसने अवर्षण छोड़ दिया गया है. इससे 13th में ऐड किया गया वीत मोह, जिसने डिल्यूजन छोड़ दिया है. So this way all these are derived from the same sentence, same verse with just one word added up. That he is neither restless nor indolent, knows that everything in the world is unsubstantial, and in addition, freed from craving, freed from aversion, freed from greed, freed from delusion. That's how these verses have been prepared. And 14th is
Lost your voice.
अनुसया न संति केची. अनुसया मतलब अनुसया से जो कहते हैं ना लेटेंट हमारी टेंडेंसीज रहती है, अनुसय क्लेश जैसे कहा जाता है, तो जिसमें उस तरह के अनुसय क्लेश कुछ भी नहीं रह गए हैं. अनहेल्दी टेंडेंसीज आर रिमेनिंग देयर डोरमेंट इन हिम. एंड अकुशला समूहात से, समूहात से जो उहाता होता है पुल्ड आउट, ही रिमूव्ड इट, अपरूटेड इट. तो जिसने अनहेल्दी टेंडेंसीज जो हैं सारी अपरूट कर दी गई हैं. एंड he has destroyed all the roots of evil. Such a person is also likely to cross over the world. No. Next is यस्य दारत्थ न संति केची ओरम आगमन्य पच्चया से. हाँ जी, नेक्स्ट खोलिए. So भिक्षु जहात और पारम. He was no anxiety whatsoever, which causes the entering the world again, then that person also becomes crosses over there. यस्य वनज न संति केची, वन ऑफ क्रेविंग्स हैं, जो डिजायर्स हैं इससे ना, न संति केची मतलब कोई भी डिजायर इसकी नहीं रही है. विनिबद्धया भवय विनिबद्ध में इज फ्रीड फ्रॉम ऑल बंधन जो है, जो अटैचमेंट है, bondage है. Hetu kappa means the cause. So one who is attachment to becoming crosses over the cycle of birth and death. यो निवरणे सहाय पंचा, जिसने 5 निवरण होते हैं ना, 5 obstructions which have Pratipatthana and other, and even in Goenkaji's discourse is come 5 enemies, जिसने वो 5 निवरण जो है ड्रॉप कर दिए हैं. अनीघो तिन्न कत्थम अकत्तो. कत्थम अकत्तो, I don't know whether you remember, we have come across this word earlier also, which means doubt. जो कहें कि ना कहें इस चक्कर में रहता है. So there is a doubt. Who has eradicated the 5 hindrances and freed from confusion and overcome doubt and visallo, sorrow जो है उसने overcome कर दिए. That bhikshu jahati or aparam, that bhikshu also becomes, crosses over the cycle of birth and death. So these are the verses of this chapter. If you have any comments, we'll can take it up.
So one general comment reading these verses is that if we just start from the beginning, we see that it's mentioned that person should give up the anger, or give up the lust, or give up the tanha and pride. So this itself tries to reading these things. One tends to attach towards these things, saying that no, I need to give up anger, I need to destroy the lust in me. And then when we read Ajahn Sumedho, so he presents a different perspective, is that just let things be what they are and be the knower or observer of things, rather than trying to make meditation something to attain. I need to become something. So he tries to guide one to be careful about this attitude. So the question is that how should we take these verses? We should just remember these things, but not create much attachment towards them. Or
What does Rajesh think? I thought we have discussed this issue quite a bit over the last few months, in fact. Yes, Rajesh, what do you think?
Sir, I think depends on so if we can be really aware of what the way it is and be the knower, that is what we should, our ultimate attitude towards these things should be. But if we are not there, we could try and do them similar to silas. We think we should be doing this, we should be doing this. But I think that when I feel that being the knower of the fact that yes, there is an anger arisen in me is much better attitude than the attitude that I should get rid of my anger.
Mm-hmm. I thought we discussed it. The issue about the paradox of the teachings of the Buddha, that we have both the dimensions of teaching, the horizontal and the vertical, flowing simultaneously. isn't it? And
Mhm.
the fact that one has to start in the manner by which the 5 nivarnas are overcome, they are given up. Overcome means anything, they are given up. Now, when one practices that, it is a natural outcome of it that if the nivarnas are given up, natural outcome that anger will come down, craving will come down, pride will come down. That is the natural outcome of that. The process of doing it is not being described here. What is being described is what will be the state of mind of a person who has given up the cycle of existence, means who has crossed over this, who has become an arhan, let me put it in that terminology, okay? Who has become free from all latent defilements. The fact that one can achieve it in practices of that kind is not denied anywhere. Here, the final outcome is being described. That's how I look at it. So, we can't say that a person who is liberated is still having Krishna, or still having pride, or he still has anger or ill will towards others. Do you think we can say that? Is it possible?
No, sir, that's not.
No,
He may speak in a way, which is pleasant or unpleasant. That we have already seen. Speech may be pleasant or unpleasant, but it will always be beneficial. It won't be harmful, isn't it? What do you think, Deepak?
That I agree with.
So this is what is being said there, basically. Do we expect a person who has seen through the illusion of the world becoming restless? Don't you think you people are less restless than what you were earlier? Or less angry than what you were earlier? What do you think?
I don't know about myself, sir.
no, sir. I at least feel that
Hmm?
even for
need
the
not
camps,
be,
I felt that I was
we need not
less.
untruthful while answering. Hmm?
Hmm?
Let us be immodest, okay? Even if it demands being immodest, let us evaluate for a change. Are we less restless or more restless over the last 3 years? Let us say, take that as a time period of time. Has it made us more restless or less restless? Has it made us more attached or less attached? Has it increased our aversion towards the world or reduced this aversion? What do you think? Hmm?
Difficult for
आपने
me
सुना ना?
Yeah,
Hmm?
he's thinking.
It's difficult for me to answer right now. Only thing possibly which at least when I talk with Rajesh, what comes out is that the clarity about things is there. When we, even in the day-to-day experiences, uh, 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 the attitude to look at those events change a little bit. We don't look at those events as possibly fully right or fully wrong.
Yeah. Okay, okay.
Does that
So as a result of that change of attitude, as a result of change of that attitude, are you more anxious or less anxious? More restless or
lots
restless?
of anxiety is there inside. Lots of anxiety is still there.
Hmm?
Sir, I would say for myself, I
Yeah,
at
I'm
least
not saying it has
felt
gone
that
freely.
yeah, he's looking at from the absolute point of view that there is
No,
still a
no.
lot remaining, rather than relative to the past.
Yeah, maybe I'm not able to
We-
reconnect fully with the past, so I can't compare with the past. So, but in terms of sensitivity towards uh, events which happen, that has actually increased. Like when you stop a car on the crossing and you see some people standing in summer. So the sensitivity of those things uh, has increased from the past. That's the one big difference is there. And in general,
no,
some attitude,
sensitivity is
uh,
not a.
the attachment towards another. So you were saying something?
Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir. You were saying something.
No, no, I think
Can you
you
hear us, sir?
just see these verses. You see the translation and see those bullet points. Anger, lust, tanha, pride, does not see substantiality, seeing the world as an illusion. Now, see those bullet points, just as much bullet points, and see whether you can relate to them in that direction or not. These are kind of, what should I say, gauges for self introspection, whether I'm on the right path or not. That's the way I look at it. If by following the path I become more restless, more lazy, more angry, I become more wishing to harm others, then there is something wrong with what I'm doing, isn't it? That's the way I look at
Yes,
it.
sir.
I shouldn't say.
Yeah.
So
Yes, sir.
we should see, therefore, that these are kind of characteristics. There's no description of the path here, isn't it? These are
Yeah.
description of the characteristics. What would be the characteristics if a person has to become really free from this cycle of death and birth? So I see it in that manner. So I can relate that yes, if I am following a path in which anger is reducing, I am more at peace, less restless. Obviously, we have to use the word in relative sense. We are not talking of absolutes.
Yeah.
So that is the way I look at this this sermon, this discourse, as pointing out means of assessing whether I am following the right path or not. Does it make some sense?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Hmm?
So
To
relative to
that
the
extent,
past,
it is okay.
yeah, relative to the past, I think at least I have felt that I've started to see things in an attitude that is more peaceful. It is less anxious. Many times, some situations that would have arisen into a kind of a argument either at workplace or at home. In those similar situations, don't end up into those arguments because maybe I think the attitude to look at those things changes, and that overall makes us less anxious, because otherwise we would have been in those arguments that would have made us anxious for the whole day.
That's
Relatively,
what
sir,
is the really
definitely.
point here. Yeah. So I see it in that manner, and as we become more and more clear, more and more established in, I should say, more and more, or less and less caught up in the illusion of self, these things will automatically happen. These are the outcomes of all that. The anger arises because of self-view. Lust arises because of self-view. Pride arises because of self-view. Restlessness, everything arises because of that. So if we are following that path, that is perfectly fine. But this should be the outcome. So these are the measures, हर चीज के कुछ वो नाप तोल किया जाता है ना कि भाई क्या हो रहा है, मैं ठीक रास्ते जा रहा हूँ कि नहीं जा रहा. So I see it in that manner. In fact, most of the discourses of the Buddha of the kind of, and even in Dhampada, they were of this kind only, describing the characteristics of a Brahman, characteristics of a Arahant, characteristics of a person who is enlightened, of a Buddha. But we also had certain discourses on anger, or a discourse on world, a discourse on, mind. So in similar manner is there in the Sutta Nipata also. So here is a first discourse where is teaching is focused on what are the characteristics, and the analogy of a snake shedding its old decayed skin. सांप अपनी केंचली निकाल देता है ना, तो वो केंचली निकालना is seen as a symbol of giving up of the old ways of living and adopting more wholesome ways of living. Okay?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So, but I think that's a very gives very clarity to how to look at these things, which are just primarily to look at these things as describing the characteristics of somebody who has given up on the who have attained
following the path.
Following the path, right?
So anybody who is following the path correctly, should experience these in whatever measure.
And sir,
full measure में होगा तो फिर तो one of them is sufficient. In full measure, even one is sufficient because everything else will automatically be there.
Yeah. But is it correct to say that the following the path translates to what Deepak started with, which is what Anand Sumedho said, is that being the knower of what it is.
That is the methods, if I may use that word, suggested by the Thai school. That will help us to be more in tune with reality and reduce our illusions, isn't it? Reduce our delusions. Eventually, even the notion of knower has to disappear, isn't it? From mindfulness, as Rodney बहुत अच्छी तरह कहते हैं ना उसको, from mindfulness you have to go towards awareness. There's no one who is mindful, no one who is knowing the thing. So that is a description of the path. This is a description of the parameters on which one can assess oneself. And no, why one idea comes to me, the reason that these are important is because people have different propensities. Somebody has a very strong sense of anger, but he may not have lust. तो उसको भ्रम हो जाता है कि मुझ में तो लस्ट खत्म हो गई है, कम है, so I am following the right path. But that may be innate to him, and his anger may be increasing. And so, if he doesn't see all those dimensions, one can get misled. That's why I see the kind of importance of such an elaborate map. This is a kind of a map, you know. कई लोगों में आपने देखा होगा गुस्सा बहुत आता है और लस्ट बिल्कुल नहीं है, किसी में होगा कि गुस्सा नहीं आता, लस्ट बहुत है, किसी में एंग्जाइटी बहुत रहती है. So there are different temperaments, you know, depending on our sankharas which we have accumulated. So unless we have an overall view of the personality, our assessment of our path and the fruits of the path may not be comprehensive. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Any other question?
No, sir. This is clear.
Good. Then let's move further with the wisdom of insecurity.
Right. So, but we have some topics to
We had studied up to which chapter?
we were on chapter number 3.
You want to ask something?
Sir, maybe we can spend some time on one or two questions that we were discussing in the Deepak and Village. So, how to, what is the right attitude towards looking at things in the world which are, for example, there is a lot of bad things in the world. There's a lot of terrorism. There's a lot of violence. A lot of people are immoral, and we there is an attitude which says that this is the reality, and we should treat this reality as the focus of what is the current state of affairs, and move towards operate based on that. The other is that there is still a lot of good things around. We have, though in minority, we have groups like us who are studying these. At least when I look at it from my friend circle, there's still a lot of people who seem to be reasonably moral. And then you say, yeah, maybe overall in general the world is like that there is a lot of deterioration in all those values and stuff. But at least in the vicinity of what I see, I still see a lot of people on the other side where we are trying to do things against the tide, or things are not as bad as kind of hyped or publicized. So, how to look at the world, and with which attitude we should look at that?
What is your opinion on this question?
So, I have been.
तो आपका opinion.
So I have been. People have told me that you look at it from too optimistic point of view. You don't look at the reality face on.
Okay. And what does Deepak say?
You. So, what I was telling Rajesh, I was giving him a simple example. Like we see in TV news, we hear the TV news that some terrorist has attacked the people, and then army men have gunned down those terrorists. And then we feel it's pretty normal that terrorists are bad people and they are being gunned down. And so the general attitude we have in society is that we are very right, we're very fixed right and fixed wrong. So terrorists are always wrong for the country, and army who protects the country from those terrorists, they are good, and killing terrorists is wrong, uh, is the right thing. But now the view which I have is that ultimately uh, we are not able to see through this futility of one person trying to overpower other, and both of things are equally bad. Terrorists killing army men or army men killing terrorists. So there is no fixed, no, there is no fixed right or there is no fixed wrong. Things are either equally bad or equally right. The, at least in my sense, that the tendency to label things as good or bad is slightly.
Yes, Rajesh,
Hmm?
you would respond?
I don't know. I think at the level, at the vertical level, what Deepak is saying is right. And but what I was saying was that if you have, if you see a lot of things around you, what becomes the focus of your life's attitude? You focus on good things that are happening around you, or you focus on not so good things, or how bad the world has become. One can focus their attitude towards that. On the horizontal plane, I think it is wise to uh, be aware of the bad things around you so that you can safeguard yourself. It's better to focus on the goodness you can find around you. That that is like sila, it energizes you. But at the level of vertical transcendental level, differences would fade away, and what Deepak is saying will eventually be true.
What do you, why do you want to label things right or wrong? What is the objective?
Hmm? For
What is
the
the objective of
for the worldliness,
labeling? What is the objective of labeling X right, Y wrong?
uh,
This has been the common tendency, sir.
for the worldliness, the way we operate, we have to.
The way we see the things, we uh, label things as good, or at least
See,
if you see,
I would
watch
say let
TV,
us not bother about let's not bother about the worldly thing in the general sense. Let's take it in a directly what it affects me.
What it?
When I say I want to find, when I say I want to find out or describe what is right, what is wrong, what is my objective of doing so? What do I gain by prescribing something as right or something as wrong? Is it
So that I can
that
avoid the wrongs and.
I want to, yeah. Now, is there any doubt about it in our mind that this is what I should be doing and this is what I should not be doing? Are any of you thinking of joining IS?
No, sir.
no, sir.
Because we can avoid that.
So, where is the difficulty? You're very clear what you should be doing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that is of paramount importance. Next step would be what I should support, what I should not support, or what I should be, because as you said, vertical dimension, there's no problem. The world is seen in a different manner only. So the point about right and wrong is not valid there. But in the day-to-day life, we are valid from the perspective of what I should be doing and what I should not be doing. What I should be encouraging, what I should not be encouraging, isn't it? So, supposing my son wants to join army, just to take on the example which Deepak gave, and he says, I want to join army, but I would like to join Lashkar-e-Taiba. Will I have any doubt about what I should ask him to do?
Yeah.
Is there any scope of doubt in that manner?
Is there any scope of doubt? Says that why not? But
There will be like
you know,
lecture there was
you say it's right or wrong, or it's
obviously a strong opinion. The strong
Hmm?
biases.
Is there a doubt?
Lectures are going on
is there a doubt that
like that. Really, I won't like it. Sir.
will you call it wrong or right?
That's not the issue. Because once you try to put labels, you get into confusion. Because then we become general, we make general statements, philosophical statements, and then we can argue about them. When you put it in a straightaway manner of taking a decision, then things become more clear. Just supposing a situation of that kind arises, would you have any doubt about what should I?
No, sir.
Then
At
why?
least no.
So there is a, in the worldly sense, there is a methodology of decision making which arises from. Why is there no doubt in your mind? Because you have got a particular set of sankharas, isn't it? That's Darwazban.
Right.
So when we really discuss, in abstract, when we discuss in abstract, इसमें ये problem हो जाती है. This is what is meant by prapancha.
This is what meant by
प्रपंच जो हमने अभी इसमें था ना, conceptual proliferation. You're not able to see that we are abstracting things from reality. When it comes to reality, we have a decision making. I'm not saying that decision is right or wrong,
actually that's a very good
but
point,
we
because
know
if somebody, if a terrorist asks his son to join Lashkar-e-Taiba, he would have no doubt that he should join it.
so. We have no doubt about it, and if there is anything we find wrong in army, by all means, we should find it out. We need to see, everybody acts at the mercy. All of us are at the mercy of our sankharas, isn't it? And they determine what we are doing. We think we are having a free will and independent decision making and all that, but reality is We have very limited free will. We are all conditioned to go around by the hidden strings of sankharas, like a puppet. पपेटियर जैसे खींचता है पपेट को, हमको संखार खींचते रहते हैं, हमको लगता है हम खुद ही कर रहे हैं क्योंकि वो धारे दिखती नहीं है. Isn't it? What do you think?
But so does that mean wherever our sankaras are taking us or inclining towards, that becomes right for me, and the other side becomes wrong for me?
That is the reality of the actual existence. That is the way it is. I'm not saying whether it is right in the absolute sense. Isn't that the way it is? That's
Yeah.
the way people decide, run their lives. Since we have, through certain reasons or because of certain conditions, come in contact with Dhamma, we have association with people who think in this particular manner. So we have developed a tendency of thinking in this particular manner. So this also is a sankhara, isn't it? And some sankharas will keep you in this sense of illusion all the time. And some help us to overcome it. But that's again according to laws of nature. We are very limited. It's not that the issue is not whether we have free will or not. The issue is that things are governed by dependent origination, conditioned factor response. We have the choice of conditioning, changing our condition. So we say learning Dhamma, listening to Dhamma, associating with good friends, discussing, teaching. These are the factors which you find in Abhidhamma as responsible for wholesome states of mind. And those wholesome states of mind are responsible for growing of sati. And sati is responsible for growing of other wisdom and other things. So you can see the whole thing operating in a very orderly manner.
But sir, what about this
You do get choice.
fact that what about the fact that, let's take the example of we as friends. If we 4 5 of us have been following this for such a long time, and if we say that this is an example of uh, in the absence of any other word, sanity in this insane world. And if somebody says that you are practically disconnected with the rest of the world, be practical and look around.
Yeah, that's all right. That is their perception. And if your perception is clear, you just say, okay, thank you, we'll think about it. Why get into argument with a person? Unless it is somebody who is willing to listen. Whether we are being practical or whether those who think we are being impractical are correct is entirely governed by the extent of upbringing, the extent of experiences of life, whether we have learned from them or not. An experience of life does not necessarily mean that you will learn from it. You will learn only if the conditions for learning are there. One experience of life, of adversity, can make one into cynic and make other person into a spiritually exploring person. Same adversity can infuse in somebody the question of trying to find out what is going on in this world. And same adversity can infuse in another person complete cynicism. It all depends on how we have been, what is the state of our mind at that particular moment, which is a sum total of all our cumulative experiences of this and so many other lives, past lives. So what is important for us is there any doubt about the action I should be doing? That is of most great importance. Whether this is right or that is right, it may be a good point for debate and discussion, but that should not create a confusion in my mind. Does this help?
Yeah.
Yes, Deepak?
Yes, sir. Clear.
Any more question? Any more question?
No, sir.
Should we start the chapter or should we do it next time?
Pardon?
Should we start the wisdom of insecurities next chapter or should we do it next time?
Whatever you say, no issue. Whatever is convenient.
Next week कर लेते हैं.
Fine. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Bye. Thank you.